As Adanna wrestles with her conscience and the pressure from Pastor Okoro to hide her pregnancy, a shocking turn of events forces her to make a heartbreaking decision that could change the lives of everyone involved. Chinedu, caught between loyalty to his father and his love for Adanna, begins to question the path he has chosen. Secrets unravel, and the village whispers of betrayal and shame grow louder. With the weight of tradition and faith bearing down on her, Adanna must choose whether to protect her child or submit to the pastor's demands. The tension builds to a breaking point, where a single choice will determine the fate of all. In a small village in Abia State, life moved slowly, with the rhythm of daily prayers and the hum of market chatter. The village was known for its strong faith, with almost every villager attending the famous church led by Pastor Okoro. His sermons were powerful, and his words guided many in the village. Pastor Okoro was well respected, a man who stood for righteousness and morality. But not everything was as perfect as it seemed in the village of Unsaid. Adanna was a devout churchgoer, always seen in the front row during Sunday services. She sang in the choir, helped with church activities, and was known for her kindness. At 22, she was also beautiful, with a bright future ahead of her. But all that changed one evening after a youth service at the church. Chinedu, Pastor Okoro's son, was charming and well-liked by everyone. He was known for his friendliness and his way with words. After the youth service, Chinedu offered to walk Adanna home. Along the way, under the moonlit sky and soft evening breeze, their conversation grew deeper. They had always been friendly, but that night, something more blossomed between them. One thing led to another, and they shared a moment of passion that neither had expected. Weeks passed, and Adanna began to feel strange. She missed her monthly cycle and started feeling nauseous in the morning. At first, she thought it might be stress, but as the days went on, she knew something was wrong. Finally, she went to the village nurse, Adanna, who confirmed her worst fears: she was pregnant. Adanna was in shock. She was not ready to be a mother, and she had always dreamed of marrying in a big church wedding with her family around her. Now, everything seemed to be falling apart. How would her parents react? What would the church say? And most importantly, what would Pastor Okoro do when he found out that his son was responsible? Trembling with fear, Adanna decided to talk to Chinedu first. She met him in secret behind the church, her heart pounding in her chest. When she told him about the pregnancy, Chinedu was silent for a long time. Finally, he looked at her and said, "Adanna, we need to talk to my father. He will know what to do." But things didn't go as Adanna had hoped. When Pastor Okoro heard the news, his face darkened. He stared at his son, then at Adanna, and said in a calm but cold voice, "This cannot get out. My reputation and the church's reputation are at stake. We will handle this quietly." Adanna felt a chill run down her spine. The pastor's words were not what she expected. Instead of offering support, he seemed more concerned about his image than the life growing inside her. He suggested she go away for a few months until the baby was born. After that, he said, "We will find a way to deal with the child. No one needs to know." Tears filled Adanna's eyes as she listened. She had always looked up to Pastor Okoro as a man of God, a man of integrity. Now, she saw a different side of him, a side that cared more about appearances than doing what was right. She didn't know what to do. Should she agree to keep the secret and protect the pastor's reputation? Or should she stand up for herself and her unborn child, even if it meant going against the most powerful man in the village? Chinedu, on the other hand, was torn. He wanted to protect Adanna, but he also didn't want to disobey his father. "Please, Adanna," he begged, "let's just do what my father says. It will all be over soon, and we can move on with our lives." Adanna shook her head, unsure of what to do. She felt trapped between her love for Chinedu, her respect for the church, and her responsibility to her unborn child. Every day, the weight of the secret grew heavier, and the pressure from Pastor Okoro and Chinedu made it harder to breathe. But Adanna was not alone. Her best friend, Amoka, noticed that something was wrong. Amoka had known Adanna since they were little girls, and she could tell when something was bothering her. One evening, after church, Amoka pulled Adanna aside. "Adanna," she said gently, "you haven't been yourself lately. Is everything okay?" At first, Adanna tried to brush it off, but Amoka wouldn't let it go. Finally, with tears streaming down her face, Adanna told Amoka everything: the pregnancy, Pastor Okoro's demands, and Chinedu's reluctance to stand up for her. Amoka listened quietly, her heart breaking for her friend. "You can't let them push you around, Adanna," Amoka said firmly. "You have to do what's right for you and your baby. The truth will come out eventually, and it's better to face it now than live with this secret forever." Adanna knew Amoka was right, but she was scared. If she exposed the truth, she could lose everything: her family, her place in the church, and even Chinedu. But was it worth sacrificing her child's future and her peace of mind? As Adanna wrestled with her decision, the days passed, and the pressure from Pastor Okoro intensified. The pastor became more insistent, threatening to ruin her reputation if she didn't comply with his plan. "Think about your future, Adanna," he warned. "If you go against me, no one in this village will ever trust you again." Adanna stood at a crossroads, her heart heavy with uncertainty. She knew she had to make a choice, but which path was the right one? To be continued. What should Adanna do? Should she keep the secret and protect the pastor's reputation, or expose the truth and stand up for herself and her unborn child?